Hello friends, my name is Ryan, and today I'm going to tell you a story named The Grenfell Tower Fire, a tragic tale of neglect and loss, which is a truly amazing story full of twists and turns. It's a story that's not just about fire, but about negligence, suffering, and the courage of people who fought to survive. So let's begin. The night of June 14, 2017, was supposed to be like any other. People in Grenfell Tower, a 24-story building in West London, were settling into their usual evening routines. Some were watching TV, others preparing for bed, while a few were still lingering in the kitchen, chatting and laughing. But none of them could have known that this night would change their lives forever. That night, the tower would become a nightmare. It started quietly, unnoticed at first. A fire broke out in one of the apartments on the 4th floor. At first, the flames were small, flickering and easy to overlook. But something wasn't right. It wasn't like other small fires you might see now and then. This fire, strange as it seemed, began to spread faster than anyone could have imagined. The cladding on the building, installed only a few years earlier, was highly flammable. The fire crept up the sides of the tower, moving with terrifying speed, wrapping itself around the entire structure. The residents, many of whom had no idea that their building had become a tinderbox, were now trapped. The smoke began to fill the hallways, and the alarms went off, but many had never been told what to do in case of a fire. Some people thought they were safe in their flats. They had been told to stay inside in the event of a fire, and many were confused by the chaos around them. But the fire, unstoppable and cruel, had different plans. As the fire reached the upper floors, it began to devour everything in its path. In the chaos, many residents couldn't even find their way out. Some ran for the stairs, only to find them blocked by thick, choking smoke. Others tried to escape through windows, desperate for air, but the flames were closing in on them too quickly. In the midst of this devastation, the fire brigade arrived, but even their brave efforts were not enough. The flames continued to rage, and by the time the fire was finally brought under control, 72 lives had been lost. Families, friends, neighbors, all gone in a matter of hours. But the story didn't end there. What made this tragedy even worse was the fact that, in the months leading up to the fire, warnings had been ignored. Residents had raised alarms about the building's safety, but their concerns had been dismissed. The cladding that fueled the fire was installed to make the building look more appealing, but it was cheap and dangerous. In their desire to save money and avoid upgrades, the authorities had put the lives of the people in Grenfell Tower at risk. As the days passed, the survivors mourned the loss of their loved ones. The world watched in horror as the truth of what happened began to unfold. But despite the overwhelming evidence of negligence, there was no immediate justice. The survivors and the families of the victims demanded accountability, but the officials who were responsible for the building's safety continued to deny any wrongdoing. The frustration grew, and the sense of injustice spread across the country. Over time, the media began to shine a brighter light on the corruption, negligence, and lack of action that led to the fire. Slowly, the world began to listen to the cries of the survivors, and a movement for justice began to take shape. But for the families who lost everything, the pain would never fade. They had lost loved ones, their homes, their safety. And yet, through it all, they stood strong. They came together, supporting one another, demanding answers, and seeking justice for those who had been lost. And as this story unfolded, many people, friends, neighbors, even strangers, came to realize the true cost of ignoring safety, of ignoring warnings, and of allowing such a tragedy to occur. The fire at Grenfell Tower was not just a tragedy, it was a wake-up call to all of us. But before we close this chapter, I want to remind you that there is still more to uncover. The truth is still out there, waiting to be fully revealed. And, if you want to be part of the journey to uncover these truths, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this one. We will continue to bring you stories that matter, stories that make you think, stories that demand action. Thank you for listening to the Grenfell Tower Fire, a tragic tale of neglect and loss. Stay tuned for more.